is your champion. What, if anything, tweaks need to be done to the NASCAR playoff? I'll go ahead and go there, Jer, and get your opinion. Okay, and not in every single sport. In every single sport, the best team in the regular season does not always win the championship. It happens in March Madness, where recently you've had a 16 seed have Cinderella.
Unfortunately, there's not going to be any more Cinderellas. Hello and welcome to episode 11, I believe. We didn't do an episode on Wednesday because both of us were very busy with work and school, but this Thursday we plan to be back, and I think Thursday will be the first episode we go live on YouTube. We are right now waiting on Google to get back to us. So Thursday should be live on Twitch and YouTube. But today's rundown will be NASCAR, NCAA football, NFL football, and then to end off the night we'll have the NBA. So since we're in NASCAR, to start off, your champion is Kyle Larson. We both have his shirt on. I'm sad to see NASCAR leave. But your three champions were Corey Heim, Jesse Love, and then Kyle Larson. And it was looking like a great day to be a Denny Hamlin fan.
Yeah, everything was okay with him until it wasn't, right? So, as Jer said, truck champion, Craftsman, Truck Series champion, was the best driver of all season.
By far.
Not even close.
He set the record with the championship win, and Corey Heim is like the first driver ever in the Truck Series to lead at one point in all like 23 races that Phoenix has. And he had like 1,600 lead laps this season. So it was just very historic for Corey Heim.
Yeah, every race he was a part of this year, he led a lap and won 12 races. The trucks only run
like 23,
maybe 24 races, a handful of races, nowhere near what Xfinity, I guess next year will be O'Reilly's. Nowhere near what O'Reilly's / Xfinity in Cup run.
They run 31 and then Cup runs 36 regular season. That's not counting along with like the dual races that Cup does. What is it? The
Clash at the Bowman Gray.
Yeah, Clash at Bowman Gray and the All-Star. So, yeah, Cup realistically, it's like 38 total races, or like 39 total races, but each car only does 38 mainly with the duels because they split the field in half.
They basically run first week of February till the first week of November. But it is bittersweet. NASCAR is gone, but they're back on February 1st. The Clash is back at Bowman Gray. Bowman Gray is basically like a high school football field with a quarter-mile racetrack around it. And it's
they go around a track.
And it's a show, quarter-mile track. It's pretty amazing. But Corey Heim won 12 races this year and dominated. And I don't know about you, but there was a late race caution in the championship race. And Corey Heim had lost the lead to Lane Riggs, and it looked like it was Lane Riggs' race to lose. There's a late race caution.
Lane Riggs wasn't even in the championship four, though.
He lost it on a tiebreak, I think, at Martinsville. So, no, not even a part of the championship four. So, Corey Heim was still in line to win the championship. Because remember, in the championship four, whichever truck or car, depending on the series, gets to the finish line first, even if it's 36, 37, 38, 39, that is your champion. So, a late race caution, Corey Heim pits for 4 tires.
When everyone else goes for 2.
Everybody else goes for 2, and he comes out of the pits like 10th. But on the next restart...
And then the rest of the championship 4 is like, 2, 4, and like 5?
Yeah, everybody except for Ankrum was ahead of Ankrum was done. I think he had whatever issue he had. But now it's, green-white checker / overtime. Corey Heim's in 10th. He basically has a green lap, a white lap, and the checkered flag. And I wish we'd have recorded it or played it or something. Go look at it. YouTube, Google, whatever you have to. last laps of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship. Corey Heim, he again restarts 10th and wins the race.
7 wide.
Wins the race. He takes the field 7 wide. That means 7 trucks wide, and goes within 2-3 laps, goes from 10th to 1st and wins. I was standing up screaming at my TV.
I think we both were, because never seen that before. The Truck Series was probably, even though Corey dominated it, the Truck Series was probably the most entertaining series out of all 3 series. I know you're probably thinking, what about the Cup Series? Because those are the best guys in the world. Yeah, but like, it's just something about watching the truck races that just make them very entertaining.
No doubt, no doubt. We've been to several racetracks, and Cup, those are the best of the best, but those truck races, they're shorter. Drivers are younger. They're trying to prove themselves. It's essentially the double A. Everybody's trying to get to the bigs. And it very rarely, if ever, the truck race disappoints. The Xfinity Championship, I'm just going to say it for me, and I'm only speaking for me, a little bit of a letdown.
A lot of people weren't happy about it.
You have a driver in the Xfinity Series now for Junior Motorsports. Yes, that is the team that Dale Earnhardt Jr. owns, the son of the late, great Dale Earnhardt Sr. Junior Motorsports had 3 cars in the Championship 4 for the Xfinity Series in Quatfull, Zilich, and Allgaier. Connor Smith, Jeremiah, was very much like Corey Heim.
Connor Zilich.
Or I say Smith.
Yeah,
sorry,
you said Smith.
Connor Zilich. Sorry, I'm also thinking of Sammy Smith, the other driver for Junior. But Connor Zilich, had a year just like Corey Heim. I mean, dominated the series. His car,
especially in the second half,
his car won 12 races. He was out because of injury.
He broke his collarbone at
Yeah.
Which is funny because after he broke his collarbone at Watkins Glen, they did a enhancement on the car to where Zilich, where he doesn't have to climb out of the car. He can just pop through the top. They have a flap there at the top that you can pop through instead of having to climb out of the car.
If you don't know what Jared's talking about, he literally broke his car because after he won a race, he fell off the door. He was celebrating and just slipped, fell, broke his collarbone. So one race, Kyle Larson, champion, won in that car, and the other one, Parker Kligerman. So the car won 12 times. He won 10, yet finished 3rd in Phoenix or 2nd in the playoffs. Jesse Smith won. Jesse Love. What I got Smith on the mind for? Guys, I am so sorry. Jesse Love won the race. 2nd was Eric Almirola. And then Connor Zilich was 3rd. So that means Connor Zilich was 2nd in the playoffs. So, Jer, the best driver in the Xfinity Series, did not he did not win the championship. What do you think?
Well, it hurts to see that Connor Zilich didn't win it, but a lot of people were very upset about it. I just remember getting on Instagram after the race, and a lot of fans were not happy with it. They were talking about the format, how all of it's working. Then like Bob Pockross had to get on and say, this is how it works. Connor Zilich just didn't run the best in the championship race. I don't know what else you want us to do, basically.
Everybody knows the rules going in. You know, when you get to the playoffs, it's, 16, 12, 8, 4. So everybody knows the rules going in. I don't think, I was reading today, I think Jesse Love's other win was Daytona. I think first of the year. So he started the year as good as you can and ended it as well as you can. And he had a 25% chance, Jeremiah, to win the championship because, as I mentioned, 3 of the 4 cars were out of the Junior Motorsports stable. And give Jesse Love credit. He passed Zilich and is your champion. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But what, if anything, tweaks need to be done to the NASCAR playoff? I'll go ahead and go there, Jer, and get your opinion. Not in every single sport. In every single sport, the best team in the regular season does not always win the championship. It
Mhm.
happens in March Madness, where recently you've had a 16 seed, beat a 1 seed. You have Cinderella. You know,
Fortunately, there's not going to be any more Cinderellas as the way college is going right now.
yeah, my point is you have teams that, granted it may not happen a lot, and I don't think we can say it happens in NASCAR a lot. A lot of times you can look at the playoff and say, hey, that was the best driver. You know, uh, in Xfinity, and we'll talk about this in Cup. The best driver, the driver that had the most wins, the driver that had the best day, did not win the Cup or the Xfinity championship. But you have upsets. You have number one seeds go down. You have all you got to do is be better that day. You know, so that's kind of what happened in the Cup Series championship, and that's what happened in the Xfinity Series championship. When it's a game seven, when it's a one of one, when it's one shot, when you have all the cars in the field, whether they're running for a championship or not. Um, and Jared, what do you think? NASCAR. A lot of people don't realize, but NASCAR is a team sport. What do you think about? Explain to those who may not understand why NASCAR is a team sport. Why it's more than just the driver behind the wheel.
Well, for the team, it's it's kind of like I'm using an analogy, but in NASCAR 25, for example, in the career mode, um, the most important thing is managing your team. Like you have to go through hire different mechanics, hire different engineers for your car, and then those guys will build up the car, and then the better your car, the easier it is for the driver to just go out there and drive. Because like we've said before, all the driver does is they're the only one that gets their face plastered on the side of a merch hauler and gets their face plastered all over t-shirts, hoodies, get their cars plastered on t-shirts and hoodies, their name on these shirts everywhere. So that's all the driver does. The driver doesn't go out there, and all the driver does is just tell them how the car drives. Some might actually get in there and build the car and help along with it, but without the team, there's no car to be built, and without the car, there's no driver to drive the car.
Yeah, you got like you said, all those engineers. You've got car chiefs, crew chiefs, tire changers, jackmans, gasman, or jackman, gasman.
And you
You,
can probably speak from firsthand. That picker is really important.
picker's vitally important. Not only that, you've got sponsors. It costs money to put the car on the track. Crazy amount of money. So it's a team sport. It's way more. It drives me crazy. It's way more than just cars turning left. There are some really really smart people who are behind the scenes.
And the drivers do a lot more than just turn the car
The
left.
drivers, they have a lot. If you ever go to Talladega and they're doing 200 miles an hour, four wide, 7 rows deep, that's almost superhuman. But so Corey Heim, your Craftsman Series truck champion.
Not be in that 11 next year. That's
No,
for
he will
sure.
not. He will not be racing in the Truck Series. Jesse Love, um, again, the best driver in the Xfinity Series, did not win the championship. The best driver across the board all year long was the '88 from Junior Motorsports, Connor Zilic.
Now I have a question for you.
Sure.
If you're Richard Childers, are you are you adding a third car to your team, or are you getting rid of Dillon or Bush to put I don't know, Austin Hill or Jesse Love in the 8 car or in that third car?
I don't know if I'm adding a car because that further divides my resources. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to go. I have a pie in front of me, and right now I've only got two teams, so it's kind of split evenly, and I'm already struggling, right? So I don't know that I want to take that 2 to 3 and further expand my resources with a team that's already struggling mightily in Cup. In Xfinity, to your point, Austin Hill, who knows how far he could have gone had he not had that penalty way back in Indianapolis,
And
he
also,
lost.
if he didn't flip off Talladega fans,
Yeah,
that also hurt him too. They didn't fine him, but I'm pretty sure by how NASCAR normally punishes, they would have taken points from him.
so he carried no playoff points into the playoffs with him. You accrue playoff points throughout the year by stages, by race wins, different things, running the fastest lap
So he
of the race.
basically had to win 4 races in the last like 10 of the season.
He had to win to get in because he had no playoff points, so he was already behind mightily. But my point is their Xfinity series is so much stronger than the Cup. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. I mean, are you going to lose Kyle Busch, a 2-time champion? Where's he going to go? There's rumors that a spot would open in Toyota. He's already left Joe Gibbs Racing years ago. Maybe something opens at 2311 with Denny. Maybe Riley. Riley Herbst, if he doesn't have a good, strong second year, he was just a rookie this year. Do they do a fourth team? Corey Haim's already kind of run a part-time deal with them, and you got to think that's going to be something they're going to explore more.
It was 2311 has said that they're going to try to get Corey Haim into more races next year after how he ran this year in the Cup Series.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it. Austin Dillon, who drives the 3, is Richard Childress. For those who don't know, Richard Childress was the car owner of the late great Dale Earnhardt Sr.
and Jr.
He runs RCR, Richard Childress Motorsports, Richard Childress Racing. He's had guys on his team like Kevin Harvick, and right now in his Cup stable is Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon. The problem with Austin Dillon is his grandson, and you have to wonder with the lack of performance in that mighty 3 car.
The only race Austin Dillon's good at is Richmond. Outside of Richmond, he's anywhere from 28th to 38th every week.
You have to just wonder. Excuse me, folks, my alarm's going off. You have to wonder if he's not Austin Dillon's grandson. Is that giving him a little more rope to play with?
That's what I think it is. He hasn't won a race in 2 years, 2 to 3 years. That was a controversial win, and his biggest win is 2018 Daytona 500. No, 2016 Daytona 500. So he's been in Cup for a long time. He just hasn't done anything.
If I'm spending Richard Childress money, and if I'm able to make the decisions for Richard Childress without consequence, I pull Austin out, and I put Jesse Love in. Austin Hill's older, and Jesse Love has a ton of bright side. So I just don't know that you can add a third team. And now if the right.
They explored that a little bit though, when they've explored that third team with Austin Hill a few times this season.
Now, if it's all going to come down to sponsorship. If somebody comes in and says, "Hey, here's a blank check to run that third car, and we want whether it's Austin Hill or Jesse Love in," and that changes the game. But right now, you only have so many resources, and you're already struggling. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I would probably. Is it possible they can just flip them, put Love in the 3 and Dillon in the 2?
Yeah, but what do you do with Busch? A 2-time champion.
I'd say you just leave Busch in the 8, leave that team untouched, and just flip the 3 car around. Can they do that?
By putting either Love or Hill in the 3?
Yes,
set Austin out to Xfinity or something?
Yeah, put Dillon in whatever cars. Like, for example, put Dillon in the 21 if Hill were to leave, or put Dillon in the 2 if Jesse were to go up.
He can. I don't know contract, stipulations or whatever, but yeah, he absolutely can. And frankly, I think he should. RCR is struggling mightily. They're a back tier team now. When you think about championship and contenders and race winners, and week in and week out, you do not think about RCR anymore. And that wasn't the case 5 or 10 years ago. Certainly wasn't the case 25 years ago when you had the Man in Black in there. So it's a good question, Jer. I don't know the answer. Ideally, if you can get a third team, and run that 4th guy part-time, that would kind of solve all your problems.
Yeah, that's what they did this year.
But then you got to secure a charter. Otherwise, you have to qualify every race.
Charters are expensive,
They're crazy expensive.
They're I saw a video by Break Hard Blog the other day. In 2018, a charter was $4 million. Now they're $30 million.
There's a lot of equity in charters. For those of you who don't know, there are charter teams in Cup. There's only so many charters available. I don't know how many off the top of my head. And if you don't have a charter, you're what's called an open team. Charters, basically, if you have a charter, you make the race, you make more money. And if you do not have a charter, you have to qualify to make the race. And that's where the last third of the season, that's where Front Row Motorsports and 2311 found themselves, because they lost their charters because of the lawsuit between 2311, Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, and NASCAR. So you could have potentially had it. Obviously didn't happen. But you could have a superstar like Tyler Reddick, Riley Herbst, or even
What's
Bubba
crazy
Wallace.
is Reddick went winless this year.
Yeah.
That's the
But
crazy
you
thing.
could have one of those guys who didn't qualify well. Anything can happen on a qualifying lap and not make the race. So, if RCR secures a charter, who knows? But that's what I would do. Finally, Jeremiah mentioned it. Kyle Larson, the number 5 from Rick Hendrick, is your 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion. His second championship. Won his first one in 2021, and just a few years later gets his second championship. Jeremiah will not be his last. I see him getting at least 2 more, at least.
Joining Jeff Gordon with 4. He's now Kyle Larson's now the 3rd driver in Rick Hendrick history to have 2 or more championships for that team. The other two drivers are Jeff Gordon, and then the arguable GOAT of NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson. Larson, he's at least in the Chevy side of things and the Hendrick side of things. He just stepped into some pretty big NASCAR history.
A lot of guys don't have 1, let alone 2 or more. Second championship. What's amazing is Kyle Larson did win 3 times this year. Tied for second most wins. Well, I take that back now. When Blaney won, that was his 4th win. So tied for 3rd most wins.
Now I think Larson is tied for most top 5s though, and top 10s.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I noticed a lot from Hendrick, especially Larson and Byron. They both only had like 2 to 3 wins and haven't won in a while, but they were really high up in top 5s and top 10s. So they just couldn't close out for Hendrick this year. I could see those drivers probably having more because Rick Hendrick, the whole team only had 8 wins this year. 3 from Larson, 3 from Byron, 2 from Elliott, and then 0 from Alex Bowman. And I think Alex Bowman, there's going to be a new driver in the 48 after the 2026 season because Alex Bowman came out a couple of weeks ago and said that he will not be in the 48 car following the 2026 season. So probably expect a Zilich or Hocevar in there probably in a couple years, depending on how Zilich does for Trackhouse next year.
Yeah.
Is he going to the 99 next year? That been confirmed?
Yeah, I don't know the door number, but yeah, he's going to the ride that Daniel Suarez is vacating. Suarez leaving Trackhouse, going to Spire Motorsports. He'll be driving the number 7.
And then Haley's going down to truck, and he's going to drive the Ram.
Okay.
The new Ram car for Colleague.
Well, that's another crazy thing about that race, Jer, is Kyle Larson never led a single lap.
He was the only championship 4 driver to not lead a lap. It was just crazy good pit strategy there at the end, and probably a little bit of luck for the 5 team.
Yeah. Every sport, I think, has an element of luck. Now, if you just bank all your money, all your chips in on luck, you're out of luck. Ryan Blaney did win the race. It's his first 4-win season. Ryan Blaney's a stud. He's a star of the future. He's the Blue Oval's future. He's their guy.
Ford's golden boy right now.
He's Ford's golden boy. I love Ryan Blaney. I hate that he drives a Ford, but I am a Blaney fan. I don't care to tell you. But got his 4th win, 2nd most wins on the circuit behind Denny, who had 5 or 6. Denny Hamlin.
No, Blaney is 3rd. 2nd is SVG with 5.
Oh, okay, forgive me. Thank you. I forget. So take back
numbers.
everything I just said. Even though all of SVG's wins are on the road courses, correct, SVG did have 5 wins, all of them on the road courses. So Denny with 6, SVG with 5, and Blaney with 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then several with 3, a couple with 2, and on down the list it goes. But Larson did what he had to do. He took 2 tires late. Denny took 4. Because Denny took 4 and 3 guys at the front did not pit, being Keselowski, Bowman, and Preece. They stayed out. Several drivers just took 2 tires, just took, rights. And Denny came out 10th or 11th. And in a green-white checker, it works in truck, obviously, but you cannot compare truck to cup.
Mm-hmm.
With the caliber of the drivers and all those things, the pit strategy, it's hard to compare the two. In other words, just because it worked for Heim, it did not work for Denny. Even though the door numbers are the same, didn't work. Denny was probably banking on a couple more guys getting 4 and him not dropping back so far. But in the end, Denny comes out 10th or 11th. I think he finished 6th or something like that in the race. But just too much for Denny to overcome. Kyle Larson takes two, takes right sides. Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson's crew chief. Is it Cliff Daniels?
I think so.
So he takes two rights. They come out and they're able to
They had
hold
a
off.
crazy good pit stop too. They gained like 7 positions from that pit stop.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but Cliff Daniels reminds me so much of the late, Chad Canals, who now works for, Hendrick, and on the office side. Just a master on the pit box. So there's Kyle Larson, your two-time now, NASCAR champion. Jared, if I can, the story of Phoenix for the Cup race. This might be a hot take, and if it is, so be it. But the story for me was not necessarily the 4 championship drivers. That was the obvious story. But another story kind of developed, and that's this: Goodyear tires.
Mm-hmm. A lot
Goodyear
of tire issues.
tires.
That's the only reason Denny didn't win that championship because, they're coming down with 3 to go. Denny passes the line to make it 3 to go. 3 to go. He's in the lead by 3 seconds. Now, of course, everyone who watches NASCAR and even us, we were like, Denny did it first time.
Let me remind you, like Jared just said, make sure you understood what he said. There's 4 or 5 laps to go. Denny's leading William Byron, wasn't it?
Yep.
By 3+ seconds. They run laps around Phoenix in 28 to 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So he was literally 100 seconds away from a championship. He was driving off in the sunset. And then, go ahead, Jared, what happened?
Yeah, so Denny was gone. We're thinking, it's over. Denny finally did it. He got his championship after 20 years. But then Lee Duffy screams, Byron has a flat tire. Who
was another championship 4 contender?
Hamlin was the only driver out of the championship 4 to not have tire issues. That's what hurt Larson early in the race. But yeah, William Byron gains a flat tire. They come to that restart. Denny gets 4, everyone else gets 2. Larson wins it, and then in the post race, Byron apologizes to Denny Hamlin, saying that Denny deserved it.
Even though Byron did nothing wrong.
Byron did nothing wrong, so a lot of people were just a little confused on that part. But yeah, so Denny was gone. He was about to get that championship, but then after the race, when MRN and NBC asked how Denny feels this is if you can't win this championship, it's probably never gonna happen for me because you lead 208 of 319 laps. And you have the fastest car by, I'm looking at the other fastest laps. If you have the fastest car by, his fastest lap was 2.57. Everyone else is running a 2.9. So you had the fastest car by like 4,400ths of a second, 0.4 of a second. So it's just, he has no chance of losing the race.
He could have lost basically a second a lap, which is inconceivable, and still won that championship.
So, like, there's no way you're losing this.
Denny dominated that championship race.
So, like, it's like Lee Duffy was starting to call it off, too. Like, Denny Hamlin's finally done it. That Byron pops that tire, and then the rest is history. That one championship still very elusive for Denny Hamlin, as he still remains the best driver to never win a championship.
Yeah, to paint Denny and his success, we've been critical about Denny on this channel. Denny is 44 years old and has won 60 races. I read a stat that I believe that's 10th or tied for 10th.
Yeah, it's like 10th
all time. He is by far.
I think number 1 is, of course, Richard Petty. Then number 2 is probably... hold on, let me pull up the top 10 here.
Yeah, and while you're pulling that up, Denny, I hope he gets one. He's won everything there is to win in NASCAR. He's won, all the crown jewel races, which would be the Daytona 500, the Indy Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400, the Southern 500, he's won all these big races, but yet Coca-Cola 600, that's the other one. but has yet to win the championship. Been to the championship 4 multiple times, made the playoffs multiple times, and he was just numb. And you just feel for a guy like that, regardless of how you feel about him as a person or his personality or whatever. If your pulse is going and you have an ounce of compassion or empathy in your heart, you just feel for this guy. Because, like he said, to be that close, if I can't win this one, I don't know which one I can win. You look about almost a year of work, Jeremiah, and to just have it snatched out from underneath you just like that. And I like that Denny said, I think the call was right to get 4, so didn't throw his team under the bus and just kind of did all you could do, as far as handling himself afterwards.
Okay, I found the top 10 by the way.
Who are the top 10 winningest drivers in NASCAR history?
Okay, so the top 10 winningest drivers in NASCAR history are, of course, Richard Petty with 207 championships, David Pearson 105, 3 championships, Jeff Gordon 93 wins, 4 championships, Bobby Allison with 85 wins, 1 championship, Darrell Waltrip with 84 wins, 3 championships. Number 6 is Jimmy Johnson, 83 wins, 7 championships. Dale Yarborough with 83 wins, 3 championships. Dale Earnhardt with 76 wins and 7 championships. Kyle Busch with 63 wins, 2 championships. And then tied for 10th is Kevin Harvick with 1 championship. And then Denny Hamlin with 60 wins and no championship.
Yeah, so he's in, rarefied air as far as, you think about this sport's been around since 1948, and he's tied.
The next driver on this list without a championship that is also up here is 15th all-time Junior Johnson with only 50 wins and no championship. And then, of course, you got Mark Martin down at 20.
A lot of folks right now outside of Denny consider Mark Martin the greatest driver to have not won the ship. But again, there was that blown tire.
Larson's 30th all time.
He's going to climb out that list, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Jared, multiple drivers with tire issues, including 3 of the 4 championship 4. Larson had his deals. Briscoe had multiple, tire issues. Larson had his. Noah Gragson, AJ Allmendinger, multiple guys had tire issues, and the reason that is Goodyear, brought a different tire. Folks, you want a tire that wears. Pretty much, you want a tire that wears. You don't want the tire to not give up anything. You don't want the tire to give up grip, or to not give up grip. Excuse me. You want the tire to give up grip. You want the tire to fade over time. You want that. It puts it in the driver's hands. It adds strategy, and Goodyear is able, with research and different compound makeups of the rubber and different things like that, they're able to bring different tires to different tracks. It's not race manipulation. It's nothing like that. It's the same for every team, but they're able to create tires because every track is different. Different tracks eat up different tires in different ways. If you would have taken this tire to Darlington, for example, which is like a cheese grater, they wouldn't have made it around there 10 times, So you want tire fall off. You want the back of the car loose. You want the driver having to work a little bit. And Goodyear brought this tire to Phoenix. Some liked it. Some didn't. Jeremiah, I've never driven a race car. Have no desire to. I'm do good to drive my car on the street when it's not in the shop too soon. I think they had the right idea. I think they're in the right direction. I think their intentions are pure. I think they're on the right track. I just think, as the old saying goes, Jeremiah, they missed it by that much. What are your thoughts about the tire? You can't. This is on big NBC. It's your championship race, and you have cars that can't go 40 laps. Without having to come to pits. And at the very end of the race, you had guys who had no. NASCAR allots you X amount of tires per race, and the teams buy these from Goodyear, and most teams use all these up and had to put what are called scuffs. Scuffs are the tire that you qualify on. They have 1, maybe 2 laps on them. So teams are going back and putting their qualifying scuffs back on the car in the race to finish the race. So, Jared, what are your thoughts about Goodyear and the tire and what you saw at Phoenix? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it on the right track? Did it take away from the storyline? What do you think?
I didn't like it. I just like it more when the cars go green more. Not when the tires get shredded, because we had a lot of tire issues, as you know. Like we could have had one there at the end of the race with Brad Kay and Ryan Preece and Alex Bowman not pitting. So one of those guys could have just popped a tire right there and probably could have knocked out a championship four driver. I just wish I just wish it wasn't under caution as much. It was kind of the same way with the truck race at Talladega. Just felt like so much of the race was ran under caution. But I just think with it being the championship race, just let them run, let them go as long as they can. But the plus side to it though is that it's a whole lot more strategy on the crew chiefs. Um, 'Cause
Yeah,
now you're having to
and the driver
calculate.
has to manage his tires. He can't just
hmm
take off like a bull out of a china shop. So he's
That's
got
what
to
happened with Denny there at the start. He took off
use this stuff up.
and then around 45 laps in, Byron was catching up and closing that gap really soon. I think Byron actually passed
He did.
Denny for a little bit there, and to snag stage one from Denny. So of course, when stage two had a different outcome. Denny did not take off like he did. He hung back a little bit and ended up winning stage two. But that's how Byron won stage one. He let Denny just run off
Hmm.
and kill his tires.
Yeah. You know, only thing you can say is every driver is dealing with the same thing, so it's not like it gives one driver an advantage or not. Now, if you hit strategy like you just said and you hit it right, and you're able to maintain your tire and kind of nurse that tire, if you will, over the course of a run, then at the end of the run, your car actually looks faster because you've not used up your stuff. You still have some grip, you know, you still have some turn, you know, you still are able to control your car, while other cars feel like they're on skates and ice, or worse, they're in the wall.
hmm
So it just, I don't know if unfortunate too strong a word. It's just kind of unfortunate that in our championship race, that you're just talking so much about tires.
hmm
You know, when the storylines were so good. And this is the last thing I have to say. You know, I am not a Denny fan. Don't even pretend to be. However, Denny is going through some personal stuff right now with his father. You know, nobody really knows what's going on. It's none of our business what's going on. Denny's worried this might be the last time his dad ever sees him race for a championship. Did show some pictures of Denny with his dad. You know, his dad is, you know, in a chair with oxygen. So we're not going to speculate here. We're not going to do anything like that. But man, wish Denny and his dad all the best. All of our thoughts and prayers and concerns, you know, go his way. And, you know, folks, just respect his privacy like you would want your privacy respected. Um, but with that going on, and with just the way Denny lost that thing, you have to feel bad for the guy.
hmm
And
I
I,
feel bad just watching him because after the race,
yeah,
Denny, of course, the drivers do what they normally do when they put the car in park after the race. They disconnect the wheel, put the wheel there on the dashboard, take the helmet off, put the dashboard, oh my gosh, put the helmet on the dashboard or on the car, then just get out of the car. But Denny sat there for a little bit and just watching him sit there, and taking some time in the car, you just just felt bad for him there at the end.
and give him credit. I mean, he said I agree with Chris Gale, the fact that we took four tires. Gale, his crew chief, didn't throw him under the bus, and he took it with grace. He took it as good as you. He's still human, right? I mean, he was literally. You know, I mean, this we talked about. He was within a minute 90 seconds of winning a championship, the championship that has eluded him for what
20 years.
20 years or more when he came in the sport in the early 2000s. You know, uh, answered all the questions. So I mean, I just give the guy a ton of credit. I would say this though, if I'm Denny and I'm not Denny, if I'd have won that chip, I'd have retired right then and there
Tired right there at the press
because
conference.
there's nothing else this man can do for the sport. You know, you know, as far as what he can win,
He's
he
won
can.
every crown jewel. He's won Darlington, won Bristol, won Charlotte, won Indy, won Daytona multiple times.
He's one of
So
the
there's nothing else he can
one of
do
the
after the
one of the
chip.
greatest to ever do it. You know, no doubt. If first ballot, if he's not first ballot Hall of Famer, something is terribly. No matter what with the chips, right?
hmm
He's a first ballot, no
Driving the
questions asked,
winningest number in the Cup
Hall
Series
of
too.
Famer. Yeah, a lot of pressure on driving the 11. You know, Kawicki drove it, Waltrip drove it, he driving it.
Yarball drove it.
You know,
Just
so
some of the biggest names in NASCAR have driven the number 11 car, and a lot of them probably the biggest pressure in that 11 car. A lot of people probably expect you to bring a championship to that car, because two or three of the guys are in the top 10 for most wins that I named off earlier. Like Kelly Arbol and Darrell Waltrip, both of those guys brought 6 championships combined to the car. I think that's the biggest pressure with Denny right now. If you're driving that 11, people probably expect you to bring at least a championship or two to that number at least.
Yeah, and you're driving it for Joe Gibbs, the Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. Again,
that team's probably hungry for a championship
them
too.
And Hendrick are right here, and now this mighty Joe Gibbs Racing has not won a championship since 2019 when Kyle Busch won it.
Mm-hmm.
The year he broke his leg or in foot. Since 2020, your championship has come out of has come out of 2 stables, Hendrick or Penske.
And Penske won the race today.
Penske.
So what if Byron didn't move Blaney last week?
Let's play devil's advocate. Exactly. Blaney finished second last week and was leading the race. If he catches up to Byron and decides to move him, he couldn't get to Byron. He admitted that. He was literally.
Strategy at Martinsville was.
Blaney's literally one position away from being a champion, 2-time champion. But to our point, in 2020, your Cup Series champion was Elliott Hendrick. 21, Larson Hendrick. You had 10 wins that year? 2, Logano, Penske. 23, Blaney, right? Penske. 24, Logano again, Penske. 25, Larson.
And then ever since that 2022 race with where Logano won it, Penske has won the last 4 races at Phoenix and on championship weekend, like number 1. They finished number 1 and went to victory lane 4 years in a row. Now, will it be different next year? I don't know. They're taking it back to Homestead next year, which I like, me personally. I'd rather have the championship at Homestead than Phoenix. What do you think about that? Would you rather have the championship at Phoenix or at Homestead?
I like Homestead. Phoenix has done a great job. Nothing against Phoenix, but I think that thing needs to be on a 5 or 6 year. That thing being the championship race. In my mind, it needs to be on a 5 or 6 year rotation. Now, there's a lot of tracks you cannot use because it's November, and it's cold. Let's face it. So you can't go too far north because it's cold.
Your best suitors are probably Texas.
You've got Texas, maybe Kansas, but probably not. Vegas,
Echo Park,
Phoenix. You're not going to take it to a super speedway because it's just not in the driver's hands. It's a terrible idea. So yeah, you're really one of those 4 or 5 tracks. Charlotte, maybe you might could take it to Charlotte,
depending on weather.
But yeah, you're kind of handcuffed because of weather. In the first week of November, where you could take it. You can't take it anywhere, north, just because it's so cold, and obviously the further north you go, the colder it is, and dealing with snow and various things, poor weather. So I like Miami. It's a racy track. It's been there before, but it's not just the track; it's the city. It's a city that the city has to be able to host something like that. Has to have a championship feel.
They could do Vegas too.
Vegas would be a great idea. The town has to be able to host it and host it well. You got to have that vibe about it.
Phoenix is kind of in the middle of the desert. Honestly.
It is. But it's a championship town. You have the giant bowl games there. The Super Bowl has been there. You got major sports teams, a major airport. Phoenix can do it. Dallas, where Texas Speedway is, that area, Fort Worth, they could do it. Vegas certainly could do it. Atlanta could do it. Let me take that back. Atlanta's raceway is in Hampton, which is outside of Atlanta. So you'd have places to stay, but there is a little bit of a commute between Atlanta and Hampton. But they could do it. They could. I don't know that you're going to take it to Darlington, South Carolina. It's just such a tricky track. The Lady in Black.
You probably have to take out the Cookout 500 anyways.
Yeah, and Darlington can't. It's Darlington is it's tiny. It's so it's I don't know where people would stay. Would host. But Miami it's a winner, and that's a great track. A true oval.
He was there for like 20 years too. That's where Jimmy Johnson won all 7 of his championships are at Homestead. So I just think with it being there too for 20 years, might have that bit of that nostalgia feel, because I've watched when I was a Kyle Busch fan, I watched Kyle Busch win there,
Mm-hmm.
so I probably just have that connection to it.
Well, it's got to be a track that's racy,
Mm-hmm.
right? In Miami, Homestead Miami is racy. You got to be up against the wall. I mean, literally, the closer you are to the wall, the better. That's where the speed is. I mean, those guys will race a quarter inch off the wall, and that's where the speed is.
That's how Reddick beat Blaney last year to make it to the championship 4. He
So-
hugged the wall and got past Blaney.
So there's a lot of factors, and Miami checks all those boxes. So I'm excited. I don't want to see it stay there indefinitely. I want to see it move around. I don't like change for change's sake, but NASCAR fans are notorious for just fussing about everything. NASCAR fans, just let this be. This is a good thing for the sport, I think. I'm just one person, but I think it's a great thing for the sport. Last thing I'll say, and then I'll turn it over to you again, Jer, is NASCAR is now off as far as points paying races until February 15th. NASCAR does something super interesting. They start with their Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They start with their biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500. Even if you're not a NASCAR fan, you know what this race is. You know what it stands for. So that's the race that we start with. Again, it's in February, so there's not a lot of places you can start because you're still in the dead of winter.
Like the first 5 races are all south of like Kentucky and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. And they have to be. That's what you're saying. Now, racing's back as far as an exhibition race on February the 1st when the series goes to, again, we mentioned earlier, Bowman Gray for the Clash at Bowman Gray. So it's kind of sad. Again, we've been talking about NASCAR for almost 50 minutes now. It's bittersweet, but man, these guys, as you mentioned, they're on the road so much, and these haulers and these teams, they deserve they get a much deserved rest and break. So NASCAR industry, thank you for what you do for us. You guys get some rest, and they'll be back on February 1st for again the Clash, and February 15th for the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're now on to NCAA football, and it was a very wild week for NCAA.
Another coach got let go.
Mm-hmm. 10 coaches have been fired, and all of them have a really big buyout, all of them combined. But want me to do a quick rundown of the final scores here?
Yeah. While you're doing that, Auburn let Hugh Freeze go. So what'd you say? That's 10th, and look at some of these schools that are open as far as a coach: Auburn, Florida, LSU, Penn State. Some big schools. I feel like I'm forgetting some big ones, but there's some big schools. Clemson might be in that role very soon. So there's some big schools open now. So we'll see what happens. But here, Jared, go ahead and break down some scores for us. And
so Memphis beat Rice, Ohio State beat Penn State, Indiana dog walked Maryland.
I still owe Indiana an apology. They just keep destroying people.
Georgia snuck out a win against Florida and Jacksonville. Ole Miss beat South Carolina. Georgia Tech upset by NC State 48-36. Texas beat Vanderbilt finally. SMU another upset on Miami. I think Miami's not that team we saw during week 1 through 3 maybe.
No,
they're not. They're not that team anymore.
They're borderline being left outside now. In my opinion, if they lose one more, they're done. That being the playoff, and if they lose one more game, they may say goodbye to the ACC championship opportunity, let alone the playoff. It's a lot to ask of your offense, isn't it? Look, we need you to go out there and score at least 30 to give us a chance.
Yeah, a lot of Vol fans are saying fire Tim Banks, or get rid of, or just fire someone on defense, because allowing 30 every week for Tennessee with the direction Tennessee's gone within the past 4 years, 5 years, they're trying to become a blue blood, but it ain't looking good right now for defense.
No, you're the Tennessee fan. Is that coaching, or are there some injuries in there? Like what?
At this point, it's coaching. There's no way it's injuries. This is the same lineup they've had since maybe week 3, week 2. So at this point, it's coaching. So some Vols fans are saying fire Tim Banks, which is the defensive coordinator. So at this point, it's coaching. I don't see it being
Fair enough. Yeah.
defense. I don't see it being players at all. Virginia beat Cal. Louisville beat Virginia Tech. Utah destroyed
Destroyed.
17th ranked Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Michigan snuck out against Purdue. Justice Haynes was hurt, and by how just watching Michigan this year, you can tell if Justin Haynes is out, this game especially proved that. No offense to you, Dad, because I know you're a Michigan fan, but Michigan is lifeless basically without Justice Haynes. Because if 2-7, 0-6 in their conference, Purdue can put up a big fight. Not good. Like
No.
their backup though had 185 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I agree. We rise and go with Haynes, but Marshall, 25 carries, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns, obviously carried the day for us. I mean, a win's a win, but you got to beat Purdue by more than 5 at the big house under the lights. Bryce Underwood's growing, got some growing to do, 13 of 22, 145 yards. But again, Marshall, all of our touchdowns were on the ground, were from him. First, second, and fourth quarter, again coming out 21-16.
And then big upset. Well, not big actually. I just looked back at the score. West Virginia beat Houston 45-35, and then USC snuck out against Nebraska for a 21-17 victory. And then latest rankings came out too today. But you all know what's interesting about the Penn State loss yesterday? Penn State is right now 0-5 in the Big Ten and have lost their last 5 in a row. They haven't won a game since Oregon. So
it's the first time they've had such a streak, since I can't remember, like 2020 or something before that, before Franklin got there. It's been a long time since they've had this kind of a skid.
Their last win is Villanova.
Yeah, who's gonna take that program, Somebody will.
Oh my gosh, it's a rough 2 weeks to be a Penn State fan. They just took on number 1 Ohio, then they take number 2 Indiana in Happy Valley.
They're about to be 3-6, 0-6 in the Big Ten because Indiana is a steamroller. I think Indiana is the best team in the country right now. I know you ride with the champ until they're not the champ or until they lose.
But
that
that's
being
my
Ohio.
thing. Ohio hasn't played anybody though.
That is true, and there's starting to be some whispers about that when ESPN and social media and different analysts covering different games, they're kind of talking about, I know it's not Ohio State's fault. All you can do is play the teams that are there, and I cannot believe I'm even remotely coming to the defense of Ohio. But you thought again that first game of the year, Ohio State, Texas, and Texas is just not. They've not been who we thought they were. They should have lost to Kentucky, should have lost to Mississippi State. Gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter to squeak by Vanderbilt at home. That Ohio has really played nobody. Grambling, Ohio, Washington, little respect there. Minnesota, Illinois, kind of in the same boat as Texas, not who we thought they were. Wisconsin, Penn State. Then they got Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. They play nobody. So they're going to come into the big house.
It's the same thing I said.
Undefeated.
It's the same thing I said last week. Your biggest threat's Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
Michigan's sitting there at 5-1. One game behind Indiana and Ohio State. 7-2 overall. So it's all going to come down to that. I think regardless, Ohio is going to be in the playoff, maybe even in the Big Ten championship. But yeah, it is not a hot take to say Ohio's played nobody. They haven't. And again, it's not their fault. At the beginning of the year, who would have thought that Penn State would be where they are without a head coach? Probably very few, if anybody. Who'd have thought that? That was the game of the week at the beginning of the year. And then opening, Texas promising and always the game against Michigan. But their schedules turned out they've not played anybody. With all due respect to those teams, they've not played anybody.
Of course, Indiana still steamrolling. Other undefeated, the only 2 undefeated teams I believe are Indiana and Ohio. Indiana's 9-0, 6-0, and then Ohio's 8-0, 5-0.
And
So
I see some upsets here, Jared,
there's a
particularly
lot
in
of
the top
upsets, though.
10. You know, you've got
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. Well, no, it wasn't an upset, but a 4-point win over a Florida program without a coach, looking for a coach, and all that's going on there. Number 8 Georgia Tech goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 Vanderbilt goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10 Miami goes down. Number 14 goes down. Number 17 goes down. Number 22 goes down, and number 23 has to hang on to beat, which is USC, has to hang on to beat Nebraska by 4. Some scares for sure this week, and some flat out upsets.
Yeah. So I think that Florida one, that's probably a bit of a look in the right direction, because I think if Billy Napier was their head coach, that score probably would have been 20-24. Um, yeah, it's scary for Georgia, and then for Cincinnati gets smacked, and then Houston getting the upset, and then USC squeaking by, in Nebraska. Very, very interesting week for college football. And do you want to go ahead and look at rankings?
Yeah, we can.
New rankings. I'll probably just quick fire it here. So, there's only 3 undefeated teams left: Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M, which are 1, 2, 3.
You know what's crazy is still I don't feel like anybody's talking about A&M.
They're sneaky. No one's talking about them. Everyone's been talking probably about Georgia.
I forgot them too. I only think of the big 2, undefeated. But then, excuse me, there sits A&M 8-0.
They also have a vote to be number 1 in the AP. Ohio State with 54, Indiana with 11, and then A&M with 1. Number 4, Alabama. Number 5, Georgia. 6, Oregon. 7, Ole Miss. Another undefeated team, 8th ranked BYU. They might be sneaky too, but no one's talking about BYU. I think they have some pretty solid ones. Let's see who they've beat. Time 23 ranked Utah, the real test.
Are they at Texas Tech this Sunday? Is that BYU?
Yeah,
yeah. Game day is going to be in Lubbock, so that's a big one. That's 8 versus 9, right there. So we're going to learn a lot about both those 2 teams right there this week coming up. Again, college game day will be in Lubbock for BYU at Texas Tech,
and then TCU, Cincinnati, and then UCF to end off their season. But Texas Tech at 9, Notre Dame 10, Oklahoma 11th, Virginia 12th. So Virginia's back in playoff contention. Texas rises 7 spots to 13th. Louisville at 14th. Vanderbilt down 6 spots to 15th. As much as I really don't want to say this, but it's looking very realistic with how our defenses look this season. Well, Vanderbilt might finally beat Tennessee. I'm not happy to say that. Georgia Tech goes down to 16th. Utah rises back to 17th. Miami drops down to 18th. Missouri stays at 19th. USC moves up to 21st. USC rises up to 20. Michigan stays put at 21. Memphis rises up 3 spots to 22. Tennessee drops 9 spots to 23rd. Washington enters the top 25 at 24th. And then Cincinnati, after getting destroyed, goes down to 8th. Other teams that have been receiving votes, the big ones, the big 3 have been Iowa with 71 votes, James Madison with 53 votes, and then Pittsburgh with 35 votes. And not far behind is
Houston fell from the rankings, previously ranked 22, and Washington takes their place at 24.
Now over in the coaches, spots 1 through 10 are the same, but the coaches have Virginia at 11th, Oklahoma at 12th. Texas is at the same spot. The coaches have Georgia Tech at 14th, then Louisville at 15th, and Vanderbilt at 16th. They have Missouri up to 17th. They have Miami staying put at 18th. They have Utah all the way up into 19th, so they have Utah down a few spots. They have Michigan up to 20th. They have USC at 21. And then Tennessee at 22, Memphis at 23. Then they give Iowa that 24th spot. And then they have Cincinnati down to 25. So the only difference here between the media and the coaches poll is that the media does not have Iowa, but the coaches have Iowa in the rankings.
As you said, the top 10 in both AP and college coaches poll are the exact same. That's normal this time of year. You're starting. You've got an 8-9 game sample. We know who's who now. So Jerry, I don't see any surprises in that top 25.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. Let me take that back a little bit. I'm surprised Texas climbs as high as 13. With the way that, again, they struggled against the likes of Kentucky and Mississippi State, with all due respect, I am really surprised that they're as high as 13, giving up, again, 21 points in the fourth quarter to a very good Vanderbilt team. If I had a surprise, I think if I had to have one, I think that's it. I still think Indiana's the best team in the country, but I'm okay. I'm okay with Ohio being one.
Quick little side note, probably very off topic, but have you looked at North Dakota State right now? I got curious, and dude, their closest game was 38-30, and they beat Youngstown State. Look at their schedule.
Yeah, Jerry, we talked about them. We've talked about at length the great football that's played there. FCS coaches poll: number 1, North Dakota State; number 2, Montana; number 3, Montana State. All three of those teams right there. South Dakota is, ranked. North Dakota also ranked. So South Dakota State ranked. I'm telling you, man, we've lived out there for a couple years. One, it's colder than cold, but bro, they play some great football out in the West, Midwest, West. I don't know if you want to call it Midwest, but out West.
A lot of people think North Dakota State should make the jump from FCS to FBS because of just how dominant they've been down there.
Dominant.
So a lot of people are thinking that North Dakota State should move up, but their biggest problem is they're in Fargo, North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
So
Does it get cold in Fargo?
Little bit, but I think the most likely they'd probably have them join the Mountain West, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think they'd have to submit a bid or something to whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people think they should, but I think it was money and because they're in Fargo. It's going to be very difficult for NDSU to just make that jump straight to FBS. So imagine trying to get a big team in there, maybe I don't know, Michigan State goes over there to play them or something, like Boise or San Diego State, who's playing good this year, goes over for a conference game. So where would they just do them? Because we've been to Fargo a few times. It's not the biggest town to probably host a college football game like that. So what do you think?
No, I agree. The good thing about the Fargo Dome is, it's literally right across the street from the airport. Fargo's a pretty cool, little town right across the line there from, as far as the Minnesota, North Dakota line.
That's your halfway point. If you're going from anywhere along the south side of North Dakota to Minneapolis, that's your halfway point.
Yeah. You might consider this about some other college towns that are, small and they're only known for the one or the other. And it's just, the Fargo Dome is such a cool place and such a great program, and they've turned pros out of there. And again, I'll go back to the, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana. We've been to all three of those states a lot. And some really, really good football there. And to your point, North Dakota State is taking some big checks to play some, Division I schools, and they've either beaten them or given those top schools everything they wanted and then some.
They said that when we took the tour. They said they beat a big SEC school one year. They couldn't remember who, but I think they said it was someone along the lines of I think they said Vanderbilt maybe. They beat someone that's along the lines of Vanderbilt at the time. But the teams like North Dakota State and South Dakota State, they've gone up there and beaten those FBS schools. Last year, North Dakota State played Colorado, and they put up a pretty decent fight with Colorado. I think it ended up to Travis Hunter being Travis Hunter for Colorado to ultimately win that game. But whenever North Dakota State comes up to play an FBS school, turn it on. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, find these teams, watch them. Some great football. Jerry, you want to look at the schedule for college football this week? You want me to do it? You want to? What do you want to do?
Again, if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead. While you're doing this, let's look at any surprises. What do you think the biggest game is? Who do you think's on upset alert?
Well,
What are your thoughts?
Of course, the biggest game is BYU Texas Tech. The lowest, your lowest pick is 408. But Texas Tech, 10.5 point favorites to win that game.
It's a big spread.
So it's gonna be a dogfight though, because they're saying 52 total points we scored.
A lot of offense.
So good game will probably be Oregon Iowa. We'll see how Iowa can really handle to that point. Alabama LSU. Well, a couple weeks ago, this looked like it was going to be a good game, but then we all remember Brian Kelly coached LSU, so Alabama should probably just walk in there and, well, should probably just recline back in the chair and just watch them beat the Tigers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at Tuscaloosa too. I think if that game's at LSU has a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But not at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny. It's only one team's ranked. Navy, 7-1, going to Notre Dame, 6-2. That's going to be a test for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
With that offense Navy runs. That's
Navy,
going to be.
They've been a little sneaky a few times
They
this
have.
year.
So that's going to be a game. That's a 7:30 p.m. game on NBC or Peacock. Jeremy, I'm scrolling through here. You know, we just kind of look at the top 25 because there's 300 plus schools in football this division. Again, with all due respect to these programs, here's a little sneaky thing. Northwestern's 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, way to go! But Northwestern going out west to play USC. There's not a lot of. Here's another potentially sneaky game. I know a lot of folks are talking about is it Summerall or Tulane's head coach potentially going to one of these big schools that are open to be the head coach. Of course, when I ask him, he says exactly what he's supposed to say. I'm happy at Tulane. When that money comes calling, he's going somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Florida? Is it LSU? Is it Penn State? Where's he going? But Tulane's sitting there at 6-2, going to Memphis. Memphis ranked 22nd. But Jared, to my point, there's not a ton of intriguing games. The leader in the clubhouse by far is the noon kick on ABC. BYU at Lubbock playing Texas Tech. Penn State, Indiana, poor Penn State.
A couple of weeks ago, this would have looked like a fun game.
Yeah. Missouri A&M's coming in there.
Georgia potentially on upset watch. I don't know. 3-5 Florida gave them a little bit of a run for their money, but that was on neutral ground. I mean, Georgia's only a 7.5 point favorite.
Yeah, they're giving them a touch. I still can't believe it. That will change by Saturday. Watch that 10.5 point favorite that Texas Tech is over BYU. That'll change. I think that'll shift a little bit more under 10. Could be wrong, but I just think that seems really high to have Texas Tech, going. I know you're at home, but undefeated BYU coming in and to be a 10.5 point favorite. If I'm BYU, I'm looking at that and I'm putting on my bulletin board in my locker room. Ohio State plays a struggling Purdue team.
A&M and Missouri.
That's intriguing. Another ranked game at least. Ole Miss and the Citadel. You can get a ticket for $22. Oregon, Iowa's intriguing. There's some intriguing games, but as far as that game, we've talked about it enough. I think it is that BYU Texas Tech game, and maybe a close second for me, or distant second rather, not close at all. But Navy Notre Dame. But hey, it's college football. It's why they play the games. It's why they lace them up. It's why they put them on TV. And I love college football. Love everything. Love everything about it, except for the overtime rules. I mean, no, we think the NFL should adopt college football's overtime rules, don't we? Mm-hmm. So let me take that back. I love everything about college football, the pageantry, all of it.
That BYU Texas Tech game, that's a 12 p.m. kickoff game.
Noon kick, early kick, yeah.
So that's 11 o'clock there.
Yeah.
So that's an early kickoff. So might want to get out of your bed and eat breakfast real quick so you don't miss that game if you're in Central Time.
As soon as game day goes off, that's the game
that's
that comes
kicking
on.
off.
Kicking off on ABC, and so I wonder if that's what Herb Street and Fowler. I wonder if they're going to call that game. Probably.
I don't know. So probably whatever ESPN's.
Been an early day for them.
So
or do they? Well, then the next great game is 3:30, so you can watch Texas Tech, BYU,
There's the channel running.
then you can watch A&M Missouri,
That's also
and
on
then you
ABC.
can watch LSU Bama or Navy Notre Dame. So they're spaced out good. Sometimes you have a lot of good games in that same time window, and you just got to give your remote control a workout.
Mm-hmm. You want to go on to the NFL?
Yep.
Right. Biggest thing about the NFL is who's good. Who's gonna be the Super Bowl champ? It's not really as predictable as people were thinking, but the Colts were best team in the league for a little bit. We can go ahead and look at scores for last week. I think we covered. I remember talking about the Vikings being the Chargers, but the Dolphins beat the Falcons 34-10. Oh wait, we already talked about all of this.
Yeah, we should be on the November 2nd. Yep.
So yeah, the latest week of college football is right now wrapping up. The Cardinals are beating the Cowboys at the moment. Oh wait, I went back to week 8. What am I doing?
Right now, Monday Night Football in the NFL, the Cardinals are beating the Cowboys 24-7.
Jacoby Brissett in a
Brissett
good game.
playing in place of Kyler Murray. That's Monday Night Football. Early in the third. Cardinals at Cowboys even. Cardinals lead 24-7.
Mm-hmm. The Ravens beat the Dolphins after a really good game by
Lamar's back.
By Lamar with 4 touchdowns and the return from injury. Speaking of the Ravens, they did a trade today. A lot of trades as well, especially from the Eagles. We can talk about that later. But the Bears beat the Bengals 47-42. Joe Flacco, 470 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Anybody start him on fantasy? Because I wish I would have.
He probably put up a lot. The Vikings beat the Lions at Ford Field.
I'm torn about that game.
So
we live close to Detroit, but man, I am a huge fan of J.J. McCarthy.
And then the Panthers beat the Packers.
Upset,
of course.
Several upsets.
Chargers sneaked out against my Titans. Man,
those Patriots.
The Patriots win once again. 24-23, snuck out against the Falcons. The Patriots are 7-2.
How about the Patriots?
The Niners beat the Giants. Giants right now, their souls are crushed and is in a wheelchair right now.
Yeah. Well, Scottaboo's hurt, and I think what's that quarterback? Dart. I think Dart's hurt as well.
So a little salt in the wound as well.
Ooh, ouch.
Colts lose to the Steelers. Not a great game whatsoever. By the Colts, I saw Jonathan Taylor held to 45 yards. I think this was the first game all year Jonathan Taylor did not score a touchdown.
And I started the Colts defense on my fantasy team.
I started Daniel Jones.
Did not go well for me.
Broncos beat the Texans, snuck out of there. Bo Nix with a decent game. Also expect we can talk about this later too, but the Packers lost a key offensive player today to injury. But
Hey, ask me with this Jaguars-Raiders game if I started Brock Bowers.
Did you?
No, because he's been questionable all year and hurt. 12 receptions, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns.
But
like
they
40
didn't get the
40
win.
fantasy points. Did I start him? No.
Jaguars beat the Raiders.
That dude kicked a 68-yard field goal.
That's a record. Cam Little with 68
yards. That is unbelievable. How do you do that?
And there's no win too. So he did that all raw leg. Saints lose to the Rams. Bills and Chiefs have another classic, but the Bills end up winning that one. Bills are 6-2. And then the Commanders lose to the Seahawks with Jaden Daniels probably being done for the year because I saw a video of his injury.
At this point, do you just shut him down? It's only week 9.
He's been on and off all year.
You just shut him down for the franchise.
Dude, I saw a video of his arm, and dude, your elbow should not, like, right here was back here. Disgusting. It was very disgusting. But a lot of trades in the NFL. Let's see if I can pick up, if I can find a way to get Adam Schefter news up here. But I do know that the Eagles have made a lot of trades, and there's also been a lot of injuries. All of these notifications came out today from Adam Schefter, but Packers tight end Tucker Kraft, who's having a great year, tore his ACL. Test today confirmed that 49ers rookie defensive lineman Mikael Williams tore his ACL, and Chargers standout left tackle Joe Alt will undergo season-ending ankle surgery. There's been a lot of ACL injuries this year, Malik Neighbors being one. Jaden Daniels, he suffered a dislocated left elbow that is expected to sideline him either indefinitely or for the rest of the season. An MRI that was done today will 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 give us more insight. And then in season Saturday trade from the Ravens sent former pro cornerback Jair Alexander and a 2027 seventh round pick to the Eagles for exchange of a 2026 sixth round pick. And then Miami traded star edge rusher Jalen Phillips, not star edge, just edge rusher Jalen Phillips to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2026 third round pick. So that's the third trade that the Eagles made the past week. They now have added Phillips and then two corners in Jair Alexander and Michael Carter. So wonder what the Eagles might have going on, because they already have a good cornerback base. So I guess adding Jair and Michael Carter for that 3 and 4 spot is probably really good for the Eagles. So the Eagles looking to go back to back in the Super Bowl, but a lot of stuff going on in the NFL right now.
What's crazy is the Cardinals are the team that's struggling the most right now in the NFL, and they are in Dallas putting a whipping on the Cowboys. The Cardinals have lost 5 in a row coming into tonight, and looks like they're about to change that. I do want to bring this to your attention. When you look at the league overall, as far as records, that takes out all the divisions, conferences, all those things.
7-2 teams.
You've got New England 7-2, Broncos at 7-2. But what I really want to pull out and point out about these two teams is both of these teams have won 6 games in a row. It's been a month and a half since either the Patriots or the Broncos have lost. Seattle won 3 in a row now. The Rams have won 3 in a row. Eagles have won 2 in a row. Bills 2 in a row. Chargers 2 in a row. Ravens 2 in a row. Then you've got, one win, which we're not going to call that a streak. Man, Mike Vrabel and those Patriots 6 in a row got it rolling, and they are leading that division. They're leading that division over the Buffalo Bills. Got them by a game. New England 7-2, Buffalo 6-2, and I believe New England has the head-to-head win.
Yeah. Baltimore, they're trying to get back on track right now. Baltimore is on a win streak of 2, but right now only second in their division behind Pittsburgh. But right now the easiest division is probably going for the Colts right now. They're 7-2. Then you got Jacksonville at 5-3, Houston at 3-5, and Tennessee at 1-8. Denver in a comfortable lead. Probably they're only a game ahead though. But Denver 7-2. Then the Chargers at 6-3. NFC is a lot more tight right now. Carolina's 5-4 after the upset on the Packers, but the Packers right now lead their division only because of a tie.
Yeah, that division's crazy. Green Bay 5-2-1, Detroit 5-3, Chicago 5-3, Minnesota 4-4. So those teams are just going to continue to beat up on each other. And what most likely, especially with how well the Bears are playing, what might very well be the toughest division in the NFL.
But yeah, the Titan. I'm just going to go down a couple of trades that went down today because this week is the trade deadline for the NFL. One trade was the Titans and Ravens. Ravens got edge rusher Draymond Jones, and then the Titans got a conditional 2026 fifth rounder. Of course, you got the Jalen Phillips trade with the Eagles. Then the Ravens trade with Jair, and then the Jets and Eagles trade. The Eagles got Michael Carter in a 2027 seventh rounder. Then the Jets got John Michie the third, and then a 2027 sixth round pick. The Patriots trade safety Kyle Duggar to and a 2026 seventh rounder to the Patriots for a 2026 sixth rounder. Um, Patriots trade Keon White to the 49ers. Then of course you got the Roger McCreary trade that we've talked about. Then the Browns trading Newsome to Jags as well. So the trade deadline is over for the NFL, and rosters are now set till off season for any teams that might make moves in the off season.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at Dallas is now driving 4th and goal at the Arizona 9. So you got to think they're probably going to kick here. Who knows for sure? Jer, what team do you think improved the most? And I probably know your answer, and you might have already explained it, but what team do you feel like has improved the most here at the trade deadline?
Probably the like what team looks the best right now, or just
Yeah, which team do you think improved themselves the most? Or did any? What team improved the most here at the trade deadline? They made the right moves. Um, is there a team that you say, man, they got better by picking up this guy or that guy?
probably the Eagles. They I think they just build up depth with getting Phillips and then the two corners. So I think what Philly's trying to go for is a bit of a no-fly zone from the cornerback slot, um, because you got Cooper DeJean and I can't remember the other guy's name, but both of their corners played extremely well in the Super Bowl last year. Then you go out and get Jair Alexander, who has a history of being a good corner. He was arguably best corner in the league a couple years ago. Been to the Pro Bowl a few times, so you might have him probably mentor Cooper DeJean and their corners. So I just think the Eagles with going out and making a few trades was good, and then the Ravens getting Draymond from the Titans was also a good trade as well. But overall, if I had to give it to anybody, it'd probably be the Eagles.
The game's coming up next week. As far as the NFL, Thursday, you got the Raiders at the Broncos, and then Sunday, the Berlin game, Falcons and the Colts. That game played at Olympic Stadium in Berlin. Then you've got Giants at Bears, Bills at Dolphins, Ravens at Vikings. Now that Lamar's back, that game is a little more interesting than it was before. Browns at Jets. You can get a ticket for $45. It's Bucks. Both teams with only 2 losses. Played there at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Cost you a cool $243 to get in that building. Saints at Panthers. How about the Panthers over 500, 5-4, 3-1 at home? Let's give some credit to the Panthers, some credit where it's due. Jaguars at Texans, Cardinals at Seahawks, Rams at Niners. Big game with huge implications in the NFC West.
McCaffrey's been balling.
Got a rematch where the Lions will go to the Commanders. Again, that rematch of that playoff game last year where the Commanders beat the Lions in Ford Field, ending all the Super Bowl aspirations the Lions had. Steelers-Chargers could be a great game as the Steelers fly cross country. And then, on paper at least, a great game for next week, Monday Night Football, Eagles at the Packers. Again, the teams with byes next week, Bengals, Cowboys, Titans, and Chiefs, they get the week off.
Good week for me, no Titans football. But that's the week next week. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but in my opinion, I feel like the Packers have been a little bit of a disappointment. Like, not a big disappointment. I just feel like they've been a little disappointing. Because, they come into the season off the Micah trade. And you get Matthew going out of the draft and your team's looking really, really good. But they go 5-2-1. I just feel like they shouldn't have lost to the Panthers. Shouldn't have lost to the shouldn't have tied with the Cowboys.
Yep.
So
they've got some bad losses, to use a college term. They got some bad losses.
So yeah, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, or just
I think it's fair.
a little bit weird, or just a little bit aggressive of me to go on and just say that because they came in and beat the Lions week 1.
Yeah, they should be what, 6-1 right now?
Yeah, probably, or 7-1.
Yeah, excuse me, they played 8
So
games. Yeah, 7-1.
so I just feel like they've been a little bit of a disappointment this season.
Yeah, I agree, and the reason I agree with you is what the scoreboard says. You shouldn't lose to the Cowboys, especially at Lambeau, right? And then I know the Panthers are improved. We just talked
Mhm.
about they're over 500, playing really good at home. But probably, those Packers probably shouldn't have lost that game. So yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think they should probably play a little better, but still they'll take it. Leading the division.
Mhm.
Um, Again, the last place in that division is playing 500 ball right now, and they've been injured and banged up. That being the Minnesota Vikings.
Mhm. Yeah, that's just what I think about it.
I agree.
But I think playoff picture. Have they released playoff picture? They have not much of a difference. They give probably a few changes in seeding. Of course, Baltimore's dropped down a lot to be making the playoffs. Of course, your top three highest odds to make the playoffs right now go to Indianapolis, Buffalo, and Kansas City. All teams with over an
They're giving
87% chance.
Indianapolis basically a 1 in 4 chance to make the Super Bowl. 24%. Kansas City also a 24. Now, is that glazing on KC, or do you think that's really there?
Definitely. I mean,
Okay,
yeah,
I agree.
they've got Rasheed back, and Kansas City's a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they're not a Super Bowl team. I think there's a level there between Super Bowl teams and what Kansas City's done this season. NFC playoff picture.
They
Right
give
now they have Green Bay coming out of the NFC.
Green Bay with the highest chance, 21%,
Mm-hmm.
highest percent chance to get to the Super Bowl, according to ESPN. A lot of teams are close, though. Green Bay 21%, Philly 19, Detroit 17, LA 14. I mean, all those teams are right there as far as what that percentage. Dallas Cowboys 2% chance. That's kind of funny.
Close for that number one seed though. They're in the bye. They're giving it to Green Bay though. But right there, you got Green Bay at a 27% chance. Then you got Philly at 18. Then Detroit at 17. So yeah, the playoff picture is looking a little different at the moment.
Yeah, right now the Eagles have the best record in the NFC, tied with Tampa, tied with Seattle. Let's talk about those Seattle Seahawks, 6-2. A lot of teams just wedged in there, 5-4, 5-3, 4-4. Top 10
Mm-hmm.
teams are 500 or better.
Might be a
Um,
might be a hot take, but what I think the Vikings should have done is probably keep Darnold another year. Like give JJ a few reps here and there, but I think they probably should have kept Sam Darnold because when they said they were gonna let Sam Darnold walk and go on with JJ, a lot of people were like, "Are you sure you just went 14-3 and just had an amazing year? Why would you not keep the quarterback you just had?" And then
Darnold's making them pay. I mean, look what he's doing in
mm-hmm.
Seattle. It's amazing.
I have Jason on my fantasy teams. Keep giving it to him.
Glad he went to Ohio.
Mm-hmm. But right now ESPN Super Bowl matchup based on highest percentage is Green Bay and Indiana. Um, so that's right now the Super Bowl matchup according to ESPN. The next highest odds is a rematch from last year, Philly Kansas City. Then third highest is Detroit. Detroit taking on Buffalo. So those are your three highest percentage wise highest Super Bowl matchups. So those six teams are at now ESPN's best six to make the Super Bowl as of right now.
Kansas City's numbers are way too high. 88% chance to make the playoffs, 47 to win the division, 15 to get the bye, 24 to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think they should be 24 to make the Super Bowl.
Little high in my opinion. With all due respect to the great Chiefs, I mean they've been the team of the past 10 years, decade. Yeah, a little high this year.
Mm-hmm. Because when they got Rasheed, they started doing really, really good. Because of course you got your number one option on offense back, but just watching Kansas City, I don't know if you see it, but I feel like when watching teams like Indianapolis, probably New England, but like watching teams like Detroit, Philadelphia. I just feel like there's a bit of a level there between the way that those teams play compared
Well,
to
that played out this week. I mean, Kansas City had a chance to play Buffalo and make a statement and
mhm.
lost.
Yeah, so
You, know,
I
you,
think there's
you
a
got
bit
a
of
chance
a
to make a statement and just quiet naysayers like us, and didn't do it.
mhm.
So I think that criticism is merited. I think there's worth. I think there's something to be said for it.
I don't know why they're giving Kansas City a 47% chance to win their division. They're number one in that division right now is Denver. The one of the probably tied with New England to be the hottest team in the NFL right now. There's two. So giving them a 47% chance to win the division and Denver a 32%
A
chance,
division where they might be the third best team, like you just said.
second or third. I mean,
Yeah,
Chargers they haven't
second to
been
highest.
that
Yeah.
they haven't been that team
Yep.
they were at the start of the season. Kansas City, they're really high on Kansas City. Granted, it's ESPN. They love the good teams like that. Like I just think they're a little high on Kansas City, giving them a 15% chance to win the division and then 24 to make it. They're basically saying Kansas City is one of the best teams in the AFC right now, and they're just not.
Mm-hmm.
At least they haven't shown it, in my opinion.
ESPN's got this deal on their website where it's like a grid: make playoffs, 0 to 100, win division, earn bye, makes your bowl. So Kansas City has an 80%, according to ESPN, 88% chance to make the playoffs, 47% chance to win the division, 15% chance to earn the bye, which means they're basically not a wild card, I guess, and then 24 or basically 1 in 4 chance to make the Super Bowl.
hmm I mean, I guess a little bit of that probably got to be what UTEP did a study on. Did you hear about that? What UTEP did a study on? So, that's probably why. But I just think if Kansas City goes again, the NFL is going to have a lot of backlash to go off against. Is Kansas City trying to go for a 3P? Oh no, 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 no. They're not. They lost last year,
Mm.
so they're trying to get back on into that dynasty mode. But I think as long as Mahomes is there, not so much Kelsey anymore, but I think as long as Patrick Mahomes is there, Kansas City's going to always be a playoff team.
Mm.
Patrick Mahomes, he so far he's probably top 5 quarterbacks. I want to say he's the best quarterback in the league right now, and probably give that to Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes is still a really good football player. I'll respect him.
Yeah, just remember, Father
So,
Time is chasing us all, and Father Time is undefeated.
so I just think, as we've said a couple times, little high on Kansas City. So I think we got the NBA left, and then we are done here for tonight.
If you're good, I'm going to leave you with the NBA because I have nothing to contribute to this. So if you're good, I'll peel off for the NBA. Is that all right?
Alrighty.
All right. Hey, folks, thanks for watching. Make sure you spread the wealth, share this, and keep watching this guy because
Alright.
he's a big time guy.
I'm not gonna move, so I'll just stay right here. I'll let you. Alright, so not the NFL. What am I doing? We're already like a week into the NBA season. Of course, your undefeated teams were, as the week ended, were Chicago, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Philadelphia, I think. But right now, the only undefeated team left is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 7-0. Wemby and the Spurs got shut down by the Phoenix Suns. Right now, currently going on in the NBA, rumors are right now speculating around the Memphis Grizzlies after Ja Morant's latest suspension that Ja Morant might get traded to any team. But right now, live in the NBA, Mavericks and Rockets are right now battling it out. Cooper Flag is not. I know he came in with a lot of pressure. Your number one pick. No Kyrie Irving. A lot of people are thinking you're gonna take this team to the next level. But right now, the best player for Dallas is PJ Washington with 26 points, 12 rebounds. Cooper Flag right now with only 12 points. Then Klay Thompson with 5, Max Christie with 12. So right now Dallas and then AD's back on the injured list. Not the smartest move by Nico Harrison. Dallas That team, they're doing really good. I don't know why Nico Harrison traded Luca last year. You know, he just came off the NBA Finals. Luca's looking great, but they traded him. Pistons are right now beating the Grizzlies 101-94. Pistons were a good team last year. I think they'll be an even better team this year. Cade is still being Cade. You're getting Jaden Ivey back soon. At any moment, you had a lot of good signings. Got a shooter threat from distance with your second round pick of Chaz Lanier. Um, yeah, and Tobias Harris, I saw where he played well a couple days ago. They got Duncan Robinson on free agency, which I thought was a good signing. Nuggets and Kings. Right now, the Nuggets are beating the Kings 72-63. Lakers and Trailblazers 14-13. The Trailblazers are 4-2 right now. Looking like a decent team. Last game of the night will go to Heat Clippers. Norman Powell taking on his former team right there. The Timberwolves beat the Nets. The Nets are 0-7 as of right now. Of course, they pulled in Michael Porter Jr. this year. Let's see. Let's look at there. They still got Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton. Think they got the Igor Demonin from BYU in the draft. Not looking good for the. They got Danny Wolf as well out of the draft, so they're a young team right now. But I think if your best player is a Cam Thomas or a Michael Porter Jr., it ain't gonna be too good for your team. The Pacers lose to the Bucks. I just feel bad for the Pacers, dude. You lose Miles Turner to free agency, and then Tyrese Halliburton's out for the year with the torn Achilles. So just feel bad for the Pacers, honestly. They're 1-6 right now. Siakam still trying his best for that team. The Jazz beat the Celtics. The Celtics are 3-5 with no Jason Tatum as of right now. I know they got Anthony Simons out of that trade with Drew Holiday. So Celtics not looking too good. But Jaylen Brown with a 36-point outing, and then Keontae George with 31 points. Looking at the box score here, Larry Markkinen with 20 points. The Jazz are. This is a pretty decent looking team. Yusuf Nurkic, Keontae George, Larry Markkinen. Then coming off the bench, you got Kevin Love, Kyle Filipowski, rookie Ace Bailey, and Walter Clayton Jr. So I think that team can look good. Whenever they get Jason Tatum back, Celtics still got the two that have been getting it done though for the Celtics have been Pam Pritchard and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown with 36 and Pritchard with 18. But coming off the bench, they have Anthony Simons coming off the bench. Anthony had 14 points. I think that was a good move by Boston to bring him in during the offseason. But right now, no Jason Tatum. Looking like it's hurting Boston a little bit as they lose 105-103 to the Utah Jazz. And then the Knicks beat the Wizards, of course. Top performers from that was Cat with 33 and 13, then Alex Sarr with 19, 8 and 7. For them, Wizards, Lord knows what's going on with that team right now. You got CJ McCollum. It's a very young center team. Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, and Bial Coulibaly. I think all of them are under the age of 21. Bial Coulibaly is 21. Sorry for the voice cracks. That is rough. So I don't know what's going on right now with the Wizards. Their team's just in a mess at the moment. But that's right now what is going on. Early MVP has been probably Victor Wembanyama. Wemby currently averaging. Let's see here. Now I did see where Dylan Harper did get hurt for the Spurs, so that's gonna hurt their very young team. Because I think but right now Wemby's averaging 26.7 points, 13.7 rebounds, and then the leaders in assists and steals is Stephen Castle with 5.3 and 1.8 coming off a rookie of the year. Then Wemby's averaging 4.7 blocks. But yeah, Kula not in their last game. Find it here. Yeah, in all of their games except for assist and except for their second game, Wemby has led the Spurs in points and rebounds in every game except for non-rebounds. When they played New Orleans, Fournette had the most there, but except for when they played Phoenix, Wemby had the most points. But I think Dylan Harper hurt them, will hurt the Spurs a little bit. Probably not too much if Wemby can get it back together for that next game. The next game is the Lakers on the 5th, so that's Wednesday night. They go to LA. Dylan Harper is confirmed out, but a lot of game time decisions too. But Austin Reeves and Luka are both also out for that game, so that's not good for the Lakers. You don't have either of them so far. Yeah, Dylan Harper is hurt with an ankle injury. Let's see, who were the starting five for the Spurs in their last game against the Phoenix Suns? Castle, Vassell, Wemby, Julian Champagne, and then Harrison Barnes. Not the best. When they played, Dylan Harper has been coming off the bench for the Spurs, so it's just looked really good for the Spurs at the moment. But Dylan Harper is set to miss weeks as of right now with a calf injury, apparently. See if there's any late news with some early injuries as well from Shams Charania. Dylan Harper with the left calf strain. He apparently had an MRI today. Revealed that he will avoid a significant absence, so it's not as bad as they thought apparently. And then Trae Young sustained a sprained MCL for the Atlanta Hawks. Then little side note, college basketball is back tonight, so that's great for the for a lot of people. I'm gonna have to search for it here. So yeah, Michigan is right now beating Oakland. Louisville is right now beating South Carolina State. Gonzaga is beating Texas Southern. Let's see, St. John's has won. Florida lost to Arizona. Number 3 Florida gone down to number 13 Arizona, but now Alabama with a big win, 91-62. Auburn won by 5 to Bethune-Cookman, 90-95 there. That game went into overtime where Auburn had to score 14 points right there to win. But yeah, college basketball is back tonight. So good week. Football's right now winding down, and then basketball's picking up. Women's basketball is also doing really good too. What's going on in women's basketball, right? UCLA, San Diego State, Oklahoma beating Belmont. Baylor beat Duke 52-58. Outside of that, not much else from women's basketball. UCLA and San Diego State going at it right now. And then after that, that is all for women's basketball today. Tennessee play again. Oh, tomorrow. Tennessee's taking on NC State. That's an 8 versus 9. That's an invitational in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's all we got for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Share, comment, I don't know. Just we hope you guys like this, and then Thursday we're just doing this for fun. We don't expect it to blow up or anything. So that's what we're doing it for. We just talk about sports for 2 hours every Monday and Thursday, and then a little reminder from the beginning of the episode. Thursday should be the first episode to be on YouTube. So expect YouTube to also be going live we got the verification set up tonight, and Google said that should take 24 hours. So I expect Thursday to be the first live show on YouTube. Hope you guys have a